Did you ever freeze in place, heart hammering, when you heard the tiniest, most desperate sound just beyond your reach? It was a crisp afternoon when a faint, quavering meow drifted through the air. So soft, so sorrowful that it felt like a plea. At first I thought it was the wind playing tricks, but then I saw her. A small tortoiseshell kitten perched 8 feet high in the spindly branches of an oak tree. Her amber eyes were wide with terror, her little body trembling like a leaf in a storm. And I realized right in that moment that someone had to act. I hesitated. My palms went slick with sweat, and 1,000 thoughts crashed like waves in my mind. What if I climbed up and she bolted, fell, got hurt? What if I wobbled and lost my balance? I'm no professional rescuer, just an ordinary person with a fierce urge to help. That inner conflict burned hotter than the afternoon sun. Stay safe on the ground or risk everything for a frightened life. I took a steadying breath and asked myself a question. Would I forgive myself if I did nothing? The answer came clear. I grabbed an old ladder from my garage, its rungs covered in peeling paint and dust. Each step I climbed creaked under my weight, but I kept my gaze locked on that trembling shape above. How often have we stood at life's edge, torn between fear and compassion? In rescuing this kitten, I knew I was facing both my dread of heights and my love for creatures too small to fend for themselves. Every inch upward was a battle against gravity and doubt. When I reached the 3rd rung, the kitten let out another shriek, this time louder, more panicked. It was a cliffhanger moment worthy of any thriller. Would she cling to the branch or slip away in terror? In that heartbeat I slowed down, whispered her name, promised safety. My voice trembled, but she froze, ears perking as she listened. That was the turning point. She shifted her weight, pawing at the branch, and I edged closer until my fingers could gently encircle her tiny body. But rescue isn't always smooth. As I leaned forward, the branch beneath her cracked ominously. My heart leapt into my throat. This was the crucible of all rescues. Timing, tenderness, and nerve. With a swift, practiced motion, I scooped her up, pulling her toward me just as the branch gave way. Leaves and splinters rained down, but she was safe in my arms. My knees shook as I descended, each rung a victory over my own inner turmoil. Reaching solid ground felt like waking from a dream. I wrapped her in an old towel, heart pounding, every muscle humming with adrenaline. In that quiet moment our gazes met. Mine filled with relief, hers still glinting with fear, but also curiosity. As I stroked her fur, she relaxed, purring so softly it felt like a secret shared between us. Moments like these illuminate something primal inside us. The power of empathy to push us beyond our limits. Why did I climb that ladder? Because when a life trembles on the brink, fear must yield to action. This tiny cat taught me that compassion can conquer height, that love can lift us above doubt. Later, as I sat on my porch with the kitten nestled in my lap, I thought about the invisible trees in our own lives. What risks do we avoid because we're afraid to climb? What opportunities for kindness slip away when we let doubt rule? Rescuing this cat wasn't just about a furry life stuck in a tree. It was a mirror reflecting my own capacity for bravery. Every rescue story carries lessons that ripple outward. First, preparation matters. Before you rush in, assess the situation. Is the animal injured? Do you need gloves, a blanket, or a partner to steady your ladder? Improvisation can save the day, but a moment's planning prevents accidents. I might have balked if I hadn't grabbed that sturdy ladder instead of a wobbly chair. Second, approach slowly and speak softly. Trauma narrows an animal's world to fear. By lowering your voice and moving deliberately, you become less of a threat. The kitten froze when I spoke her name, giving me the opening I needed. It's the same principle therapists use when guiding someone through panic. Calm presence can steady a terrified mind. Third, know when to seek help. Not every tree needs a civilian climber. Sometimes professional wildlife rescuers or the fire department have tools and training beyond our reach. I knew I could manage 8 feet, but beyond that, it's wiser to call experts. Recognizing your limits is not weakness. It's wisdom. In the days that followed, the kitten, whom I named Ember, thrived under gentle care. She played among leaves in my backyard, her antics a testament to regain trust. Watching her leap and bound reminded me why I risked embarrassment. A few scrapes may be worse, because small lives carry enormous value. But beyond the practical, there's a philosophy in every rescue. We learn that empathy is not passive, it's action in motion. It demands that we leave our comfort zone, that we test our fears. Saving Ember was a vivid metaphor. To save ourselves, we must sometimes descend into uncertainty and extend a helping hand. Consider your own trees. Maybe it's reaching out to a friend in despair, climbing the ladder of conversation when they seem out of reach. Maybe it's advocating for someone whose voice trembles with anxiety. Each act of compassion is a climb, and each connection forged is a rescued life, animal or human. When I imagine that cat's perspective stranded in the branches, I see the world as she did. A place dominated by danger, one false move away from disaster. But I also see the moment a helping arm appeared, reshaping her reality. That's the power we wield when we choose to act. Midway through this story, it becomes clear that courage is not a thunderbolt. It's a series of small decisions. Each rung I climbed was a choice. Each whispered reassurance was a promise I intended to keep. Each breath I took was a moment spent not on fear but on faith. And in the grand drama of life, our internal conflicts, those storms of doubt and fear, set the stage for transformation. The kitten's trembling body mirrored my own racing heart. In saving her, I saved myself from the paralysis of fear and rediscovered the brighter parts of my nature. There's an unexpected twist. Sometimes the rescued heal the rescuer. As Ember healed, I found renewed confidence, a reminder that I'm capable of more than I thought. Her purr against my chest was a balm to my soul. Small victories can be profound healers. What's the most surprising realization from this rescue? That love is literally uplifting. That our hands, when extended, can catch not only bodies but hopes. That every life we touch rebounds back to us, enriched by gratitude and trust. In every climb, in every rescue, there's a universal truth. Vulnerability invites connection. When we expose our fears, we open the door to empathy. When we admit we need support, we give others the chance to help. And in helping, they discover strengths they never knew they had. As the sun dipped low and Ember chased fireflies, I reflected on the broader implications. This wasn't just a backyard drama. It was a microcosm of how the world turns. We all face precarious branches, emotional crises, social injustices, personal doubts. Sometimes it takes a single act of kindness to tip the balance. Imagine a community that treated every plea for help like Ember's Meow. A world where, instead of turning away, we grab our ladders, literal or metaphorical, and climb. What might we accomplish if fear never overshadowed compassion? In fraught times, it's easy to cynically claim the world is too dangerous, too broken. But rescuing a cat from a tree reminds us that danger is real? Yes, but so is our capacity to respond. The question isn't whether risks exist. It's whether we'll weigh them against the promise of doing good. As I close this chapter, remember, you don't need to be a hero in a cape or wear a badge to make a difference. You need empathy, a plan, and the courage to act. Next time you hear a cry for help, literal or metaphorical, ask yourself, What ladder will I choose? The final thought? Our greatest adventures often start with a single step up. And when you reach the top, you'll find a life changed forever. Maybe there's definitely yours. Thank you for listening. Subscribe.